Man, that felt good. I woke up late, and usually I take money and chicken sandwiches to the boys on Saturday. And I was like, it's too late. I can't make it to the Chick-fil-A on time to get you guys breakfast sandwiches. I was like, what about lunch sandwiches? I don't know if that you guys would take that. And I got down. I tell you what, if you try hard enough, you can get a retarded girl pregnant too. So, but I got there clearly after 10:30. I was there. It was 10:34, and I said, "Do you still have any biscuits left?" And they said, "Yes." I said, "My God, can I please get 3 chicken, egg, and cheese biscuit sandwiches?" And he's like, "Yes, you can." I was like, "Oh my God, that's so awesome." So then I showed up. I don't have any money for them this week. I'll have money on Monday because everybody got paid yesterday. But they love their chicken sandwiches, and it was great. So I felt really good about being able to get those to those guys because I really appreciate their work, and they just do a good job, and normally I couldn't afford what they do. But when I get home, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys a couple of problems that I don't want to say I've solved, but I've solved for myself before. But I want to encourage you guys to, like if you're chilling with your woman and watching Netflix and chill or whatever, and you get up to make a pee-pee, the right thing to do is to, ask her if she needs anything. You're like, "Hey babe, you're so awesome. Do you need anything while I'm up?" So always, don't just fix your problems, fix other people's problems too. Always focus on that. So I finally have a second. And so this week's question comes from Michael LeCompte, who lives up there in Fancy Pants, California's. And he has a DD1508. It's a 10-inch subwoofer. Basically what happened was the bad glue batch, epoxy batch. The top plate came shifted. He pulled that off. I said, make sure you check the bottom plate where the magnet sits. Let's see if I can find a uncharged magnet. Whatever, you guys can use your imagination. The magnet goes right here. And so I had him remove both pieces. And basically what you really want to do is you can fuck around like I do and use, popsicle sticks and all kinds of stuff. If you really want to do it right, what you do is you measure the OD of the pole, and then you measure the ID of the top plate. Here's a DD top plate. You measure the two and you measure the difference, and then what you do is you have a 3D printer guy print up a shim that goes right in there because you know the exact thickness. And you want to do that and figure it out before you put the magnets on. Okay, and so then what you got to do is then you use your epoxy. You prep both surfaces. You want to make sure you grind that. You also want to grind the magnet side. You want to grind all that old epoxy off. Usually it's now ferrite is very, very tough, and this is like this is actually diamonds, cubic zirconia embedded discs. These are 36 grit, and what we do is we save them till they get down to about this, and this is what we use to grind and prep the surface, the glue surface. And that's because it just eats these up big time. And so you want to just get that, rough it up, make sure there's nothing sticking out, make sure there's no particles or anything like that can slightly offset the magnet. This one happens to be the SA Classic. I pulled off the butt plug. I went ahead and clear coated the whole thing. I just wanted to kind of raw dog it. I don't know why that tape is there. But we'll put a bead of epoxy around here to kind of help secure it. Yeah. And then actually I may go back over it and do the copper that I've been doing. The copper looks really pretty. And then so I already know the shim on this one. So like on this one, this was a Cerwin Vega VMAX, and then what I did was I took the old magnet from that and put it on here, so it's beefier than what was originally on there. You can see the the difference in the back, the overhang from what was originally there. What was originally there ended up fracturing, and so I just threw it away. And then this one got the triple stack. So now it's the Vato Extreme or whatever, SA Extreme, the 18-inch version that they used to make. So, but yeah, that's how you best shim up a motor. And the shim that you can buy, I'm not going to give pricing because the guy that, Chris Powell, who I can put you in touch with, he's got a 3D printer guy that can do whatever you want. And then basically you just mimic the way Lord of Bass, not the dimensions, but the sort of the design of what a shim should do. Now, when you're, it sounds like a song, Shim should do. Now, when you put the slugs on the bottom, the magnets on this part, you want to coat real thin, not super thin, but it's just kind of like a medium thinness, viscosity, and then also the back of the magnet. You slap it on there, it's going to go clank really loud, so that's just what happens. If you can make that as soft as possible, go for it. I haven't figured out a way to do it without it clinging to the pole, because what it immediately does is it brings the negative all the way back up, and then it wants to pull to the positive. So, but you get it on there. You want to squish it around a little bit so that the epoxy gets nice and coated. It's already on both sides, so you want it to kind of fill in the gaps and get real nice. And then what I do is I usually use sliced up pieces of PVC, and or I had Steve make these for me a long time ago. A lot of them get goop on them, and then the guys throw them away. They're not supposed to throw them away. And for a whole big batch of them that we did, this was perfect. But otherwise, we got to find out, like on these we just did, and the gap was so big it ended up using 10 of these PVC things per point. We did 3 points. And then for the shim for the top plate, that was a different shim. I think that was like 2 or 3 of these plus 1 business card. So, but I like to use this system because it's modular, and I do this shit all the time. But if I was doing production, or if I wanted to make sure that it was right the first time, get one printed up by a 3D printer guy. Okay, because you're going to know exactly how the thicknesses are. Now your tolerances are going to be like fractions of a millimeter, right? It depends on how stiff you want it in there. I just did this W7 motor. We're going to turn this into a 10-inch, and my original shim was off because I ended up getting 2 crooked ones. And now if I build them locally, it's not really a big deal, but you don't want to ship that to somebody and it's off a little bit, because then they have to build it on site in order to make sure that it's going to be centered. It's not quite centered. It's not really that big a deal. But for this guy, it's modular, so I wanted to make sure it's perfect, and my shim actually changed. So in this particular one, I used the PVC shim, which I normally use, and then I normally use a 1 millimeter thick Teflon shim, a piece of Teflon. And I knew that it was off a little bit, so I ended up putting one little thin piece of paper in between the 2 0.5 millimeter sheets of Teflon, and that ended up being very, very nice. So now I got to pull those out. It should be a little work, not a lot of work, but a little work to get them out. So you just want to shim it back and forth. Shimmy, shimmy, shim the shims. So, yep, did it. So, and then the same thing with this one. When I originally had put it on, 2 popsicle sticks were the key. And then once we got it on there, Ash was doing this one, and it was crooked, you could tell. And so we ended up having to use the channel locks to sort of leverage it here like that, and then squeeze, do one side, and then come back over and squeeze the other side till we finally found a good medium. In fact, this is not an exact shim. However, we found a good space where we could still get each one out. Again, I just do like a wiggle test to see if I can still get it out. And then it passed the wiggle test, and then you just leave it alone. So, but I'm gonna have Ash come back and do this bead that we do around the edge, which is more for my OCD. I think it also makes it look a little bit better. See, this one's the toughest one. Let me put my elbow on this real quick. I hope I don't get sand in my vagina. Sorry, I had to use my strong hand Even though I keep trying to make this hand strong, but with the left-handed reverse grip, it's like a stranger. So but what I'm going to do is go ahead and put a bead around here. And then this is now a hyped up Sir Vega VMAX. A little bit of a drip. We can just grind that off. And technically, it's also a sundown because it used sundown ferrite. What do you know? Let's see, she did one. She did this one. So I'm waiting for her to do the bead on the back, but I'll show you. See? This is the new Vato Supreme. This is one that I'm doing raw dog. I don't want to do any colors on it right now. This one I did in silver. So we did the pole and the top and then the back. Silver, looks very nice. And then I have some copper ones that look really cool. We're gonna cross market those to promote the, what do you call it? Copperhead Audio brand. So we're doing that. But other than that, that's what I wanted to show you, was, yes, you can use what I call modular shims. Make sure you don't use anything magnetic. Also make sure you don't use anything that is a complete circle if you can. You always want there to be a little bit of relief, a relief line, so that it almost fits, just to give yourself a little bit of wiggle room. Because sometimes the same shim will fit another motor, but the pole will be a little bit different size, things like that. I always try to, follow Alton Brown's rule for kitchen utensils, which is that you don't want a one-hit wonder. You don't want a tool that just does one job. You want it to be at least two jobs. So speaking of jobs, we just got in this is from the Atlas buyout. He's out of the game. He's not going to do any more recons, and so we got a whole bunch of woofers, a whole bunch of Scar stuff, box, some RE stuff, TC.O.Z, CSP motor, and a bunch of other stuff. I ended up getting this one too on trade. I'm actually going to, because it uses a recone kit, I'm going to go ahead and pull that out and sell it as a recone kit on its own. I just want it for their motor, so that we can model against. And then, preview of the Uwu production model that Jacob had asked me to put into production. So it's going to be as Uwu as possible. And then we have a Uwu top plate for the 5x4 motor. Always cool stuff at the underground. Thanks for watching, guys. Just so you know, tomorrow, Sunday, 4 p.m. time, we're doing the stream. I hope that you'll join us. And if you have tech questions, you can ask those at that time. Sometimes I can't get to all the tech questions, so it's better if you just watch some of the videos and you can get a better idea to answer some of the simple stuff. If you want to get into like theoretical stuff, somebody asked me the other day about, I think it was QES. So QES is the electrical system part of the subwoofer. And he's like, well, when the coil gets hot, the QES is, I'm like, less, and I'm like, again, a lot of that stuff doesn't matter because it's already in the field, and I don't really want to talk about it because it's all theoretical. You have to have a test jig to figure out if it even affects it, which it doesn't because you're already committed with the woofer being out in the field and in the user's enclosure or whatever. So stuff like that, though, again, read the loudspeaker cookbook. It's free. There's a link to it in every description of, I think, virtually every video. I think we went through all the videos and updated a lot of the links that I have in there. We'll talk more on the live stream, though. I have some good news about the movie career, and I'd love to answer your questions. Thanks a lot, guys.
Hold up. Yeah. Hold up, hey.